in the House, in the Senate. They know exactly, to the man, how many surefire votes that they're supposed to have if they vote down the party line. What they don't expect, and what the people that you're representing don't expect, is for the other side's numbers to grow and the Republican side's numbers to shrink.
And
because the Republicans are voting with the Democrats. What are you, crazy?
And when the other side says they absolutely, positively will not compromise, what is the point of just caving into them anyway?
Boy, I sure do hope Al-Qaeda doesn't come over here and just land over there in D.C. and jump out of their boat and go, ha-ha, we've got you. Because those little wussy boys over there would go, whoop, they said they got us.
Look, I've seen, just to make a comparison here and take Ted Cruz out of it for just a minute, I've seen our senator, Jeff Sessions, stand on the floor of the Senate and fight a couple of losing battles himself, knowing he was going to lose.
But that's what we told him to do.
But he still stood up, took his place on the Senate floor, and spoke up for me, and he spoke up for you, and he spoke up for everybody else that lives in his district. Okay? I knew he was going to lose some of the fights that he was fighting. But I didn't want him to go up there and go, you know what? This is all a huge waste of time. I'm just not going to fight. I'm just going to take my baseball and my army men and my plastic spoon, and I'm going to go home.
I wish he would, but they're not going home, man.
See, I sent him up there and voted for him, and I voted for him several times over the years. I voted for somebody. I wanted somebody to go up there and tell those other people on the Senate floor what I wanted them to hear. Okay? Now, he did that. Now, is Jeff Sessions losing support here at home for getting up and
not
standing?
Even a little bit.
No, people are proud that our senator was standing up in one of the big fights, in one of the big important debates.
Yep.
Got out there and made his voice heard, which means he was making our voice heard. Well, John McCain did that for the citizens of Arizona too. He went out there and made what?
Well,
what?
I can tell you know what?
Is that what they sent you up there for, John?
Have you ever seen on YouTube some of these, like a fight, like a fist fight?
Mm-hmm.
All right. John McCain, Lindsey Graham, Peter King, and the rest of their ilk. They're like those kids that are standing around watching another kid get the hell beat out of them. And instead of walking over and helping them, they're whipping out their cameras and we're going to film this and we're just going to watch. Now, people expect that sort of thing. But this is even worse because it's like you bring John McCain and the boys with you to a fight to help you in the fight. And then when you start getting your butt whipped, they go, whoop, well, you're getting your butt kicked. I guess I'll just stand over here in the background.
See, John McCain was in the military. He was a fighter pilot. And I know that when he strapped himself into the seat of his fighter airplane, that he had absolutely zero intentions of running out on his buddies that were the fellow soldiers on the ground and his fellow pilots in the air. I know that his physical courage back then was everything that we expect out of our pilots, and to when he was in the military. Why are they null and void in the life of the Senate? Since when is it okay to side with the bad guys over the good guys? Marty, when you were in the Navy, did you like everybody you served with?
Not even close.
I mean, did you even, outside of when they told you had to get along, did you get along with all those folks?
No way. No way.
Did you still fight for them, though?
I would have died for them.
So, I mean, why is that principle of standing with with your side, your team, your guys, why is it okay to suddenly abandon them if you become elected and a member of the Senate? Why is that okay?
Yeah. Does it not look like he's not only running out, man, it's worse. He's handing them over. They're handing us all over.
He's pulling a Jane Fonda.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Exactly right. But I don't want to talk about John McCain no more. Because, quite frankly, I'm getting this taste in my mouth.
Well,
and it's kind of making me want to...
I'm worried about that vein on your forehead.
It's kind of... I've got some more audio. And it might be a little encouraging. You know, we were talking about Harry Reid and Pelosi and Obama. You know, there's no give, no negotiations.
Right.
And, you know, in the past, we've been really harsh on John Boehner over there in the House as the Speaker because he's been really weak at times.
And I ain't got no regrets about it.
None. Still on him. But of late, something seems to have clicked in John. Maybe he can see the writing on the wall a little bit, you know, more clearly than his colleagues over there in the Senate. But, you know, he pushed this continuing resolution through to fund the entire government, with the exception of Obamacare. That was John Boehner's baby, right?
Right.
Listen to what he had to say about the president not negotiating.
Listen, the American people don't want the president's health care bill, and they don't want the government to shut down. Republicans are listening. We passed a bill last week that would do just what the American people have asked. It's time for the Senate to listen and pass the bill that we sent over there. On the debt limit, we're going to introduce a plan that ties important spending cuts and pro-growth reforms to a debt limit increase. Now, the president says, I'm not going to negotiate. Well, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work that way. We're not going to ignore Washington's spending problem, and we're not going to accept this new normal of a weak economy, no new jobs, and shrinking wages. So we need to strengthen our economy for all Americans, and we need to deal with Washington's spending problem.
See, at least Boehner there's got the courage to stand up and say, no, this is not how it works. You can say you're not going to negotiate all you want, but you will. You're going to have to, because we in the House are not going to give.
Or the alternative is you have to look the American people in the face and say, I didn't negotiate. I screwed all of y'all over, and I did it without the involvement of the Republicans. I shut them out.
And I shut the government down.
Yeah.
Because that's just it. No matter how much they want to say, it's the Republicans that are trying to shut down the government. History won't bear that out. The record won't bear that out because it is a Republican bill. It is a Republican resolution to entirely fund the government. That is the entire bill in itself. We want to fund the government. We're trying to fund the government. If the government shuts down, if Meemaw don't get her check, and if Loverboy overseas in Afghanistan, if he doesn't get paid, or better yet, if his wife and kids back home don't get paid, then the blame lies squarely on the shoulders of the Democrats, squarely on the shoulders of Harry Reid and President Obama.
And why? Because, Marty, okay, the Republicans have the House of Representatives. They have control of the House.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats control both the Senate and the entire executive branch of government.
Yep.
That's 2-1.
Yep.
It won't be Republicans.
They don't have the power to shut it down.
So, if the government shuts down for a little while, it can't be because of Republicans. It's only going to be, the blame will lie squarely on the White House and the Senate.
But
the Democrats in the Senate.
But
John McCain, and we're going to make sure that folks know who in the Senate crapped out on him.
Oh, absolutely.
But
make no mistake. Make no mistake. That's not what you're going to hear. What you're going to hear
is those
is
mean
the
old
Republicans shut down the government. It's their fault that the government shut down. Just like Bill Clinton did back in the 90s when he said, look, it's the Republicans' fault that the government shut down.
So who's saying that?
Well, let's see. MSNBC's saying it pretty hard.
Okay, that's
I've got some audio here. I just happen to have just a piece of audio.
I thought you might.
I said I had a mainstream fish I wanted to fry. Mm-hmm. And I can hear it sizzling now. It's a little fish called Rachel.
Oh.
Now, see, we hadn't played none of Little Miss Rachel in a long time.
It has. It's been a while.
Rachel Maddow has sort of flown under the radar. Actually, what it is she's just not said anything important enough to even warrant coming on this show.
And nobody watches her show anyway.
Exactly.
But
every once in a while,
a clip went out there, and when that comes up to the level where other people who will not ordinarily watch MSNBC are putting their eyeballs on it,
right?
She stuck her head up above the mud,
and see, this will prove our point. It doesn't matter what the truth of reality is.
Right?
They have a different outlook. This is how Rachel Maddow views things.
Bill Clinton's victory in 1992 ushered in not just his own presidency, but unified Democratic control of Washington. Democrats controlled the House, Democrats controlled the Senate, and Democrats controlled the White House. And, of course, that kind of thing cannot last. And it did not last. Because in the first midterm election that took place after Bill Clinton got elected president, the Democrats just got shellacked. Bill Clinton won the presidency in 92. It was 1994 when Republicans took more than 50 seats from the Democrats in the House, and in so doing, the Republican Party got control of the House for the first time since 1954. It was a huge loss for the Democrats, a huge win for the Republicans. And because it had been so long, it really was a huge sea change in Washington. It had been 40 years since the country had seen the Republicans in power in Congress. And what did they want to do with their newfound power? Now that they were in control for the first time in 40 years, turns out what they really wanted to do was shut down the government. Now it's a decade and a half later, and we have arrived again, as of 2008, at a new Democratic president. This time, the new Democratic president was elected by a pretty good margin. And again, his election not only put him in charge at the White House, it brought on a period of full Democratic control in Washington. Democrats in control of the White House and the House and the Senate after the 2008 elections. And of course, that is a situation that just doesn't last very long. So again, just like it happened with Bill Clinton, just like it happened last time, this time with President Obama in the first midterm election after the new Democratic president took office, Democratic Party got shellacked again. Once again, Republicans took dozens of Democratic seats in the House. Once again, the Republicans thereby took control of the House. So that was the 2010 midterms. All the new Republicans, the new Speaker, John Boehner, got sworn in. John Boehner got his gavel in 2011. And then, once again, Americans got to see what these new Republicans wanted to do with their newfound power to control Congress. Deja vu all over again. Turns out what they want to do right away, as soon as they get power, is shut down the government.
Right. Thank you so much for letting us know that, Rachel.
Now, number one, it's not the first thing that is approached on the horizon. Number two, all that stuff that she was talking about with Bill Clinton. Mm-hmm. You know what happened in 1994 that I remember?
I remember it pretty darn well.
In 1994, and from then on out, Bill Clinton actually had to negotiate with Republicans. At least the Republicans stood firm and brought a Democrat to the bargaining table, and taxes were cut.
Well,
and what happened after that we had an economic boom for a few years.
That's how we got that surplus that everybody likes to credit Bill Clinton with, that it was actually a Republican Congress that
Republicans
got it.
reined in the reckless spending.
Yeah.